kabajamtootaa fi jaalatamtoota daawwattoota Oromiyaa 11 akkam jirtu naga jirtu isiniin jecha sagantaa addaa tokko isiniif qabannee dhiyaannee jirra. Bakki itti argamnu waldaa hawaasaa Biraayan Kool keessatti argamnu Siidar jirra jechuudha. Magaalaa Minneapolis. Egaa sagantaan har'aas keessatti geggeeffamuudhaaf deemu sagantaa torban daldala hawaasa gurraachaati. Torban guutuu magaalaa Minneapolis sagantaa kana keessummeessaa argamti. Asitti immoo sagantaa qabeenya yookiin resource fair magaalaa buufata kana keessatti giddugala kana keessatti hawaasa agarsiisuudhaaf yookiin hawaasa baha Afrikaa barsiisuudhaaf qabeenya jiru akka inni itti fayyadamuuf isaaf asitti abbootiin qabeenya hoggantoonni garaagaraatis dhufanii asitti sagantaa kana qopheessaa jiran jechuudha. Nutis asitti argamuudhaan maaltu jira hawaasni keenya maal keessa jira carraan isaaf jiru maal fakkaata keessattuu daldala ilaallatee jechuudha. Maal faatu godhamaa jira carraaleen daldala namoota daldala banachuu barbaadaniif kanneen daldala keessa jiranii kanneen ol guddachuu barbaadaniif maaltu jira waan jedhu hawaasaan ga'uudhaaf asitti argamna. Egaa carraalee jiru isin biraan keenya panel discussion tokko tokkos mariin namoota business irraan godhan isaaniinis waan geggeeffamuuf hanga xumuraatti wajjin turaan afeerraa keenya.
My name's Jacob Fry. I'm the mayor of Minneapolis. Everybody, we're in the middle of Black Business Week. And we are supporting the incredible entrepreneurs that make Minneapolis a wild success. We are supporting the amazing people that run with a great idea, start a business, make an investment, and make sure that their talents are utilized in full. We want to make sure that every bit of talent that we have in our city is realized. Because if we don't, not only is that detrimental to the particular business owner that cares so deeply about Minneapolis, it's detrimental to Minneapolis. Because we know that if black business owners don't succeed, our city doesn't succeed. We also know, by the way, that of all of the demographics out there, do you know who is starting businesses at a higher rate than anybody else? None of the panelists can answer, but everybody else, the panelists probably already know. Anybody else? Black women, specifically. And we want to make sure that that talent and skill is recognized. We need to ensure that people throughout our city are patroning black businesses, not just this week, when we've got an official fancy title around Black Business Week, but every single week. Now, this particular event, as you know, is about East African entrepreneurs. And I have known our East African community for a long time. I grew up in Northern Virginia, which has one of the largest East African, both Somali and Oromo communities in the entire country. And then I moved out here, which has an even larger East African community. And what has been clear from the very beginning is the amazing innovation and creativity that is instilled in these particular groups of people. What has been so clear is the drive, the ambition, the grit, which is like a combination of determination plus perseverance, getting up every single day to believe in yourself, to believe in a big vision, to make it happen. They're doing incredible things. We as the city want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to be there for you, to walk you through the process at the city. And by the way, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the City of Minneapolis employees that are here with us. If you could raise your hands. We've got contracting opportunities. We've got our civil rights department. We've got our small business team. I'm sure there are others as well that I can't even see. But they're here to help. If you are a success, we are a success, and vice versa. Now, in just a second here, we're going to introduce these incredible panelists that are behind me right now. I think every single one of them, actually. I have watched them create. I have watched them excel. And today they're going to give us a rundown, a full rundown on where we are succeeding, on where we have work to do, but also they'll give you a little bit of their mind. You can pick their brain on some of the areas where we collectively can really do it well. And so we've got Zamzam Muhammad, by the way, I think is the moderator, right? You're the moderator? There we go. We've got Asiya Muhammad, we've got Miski Abshir, we've got Kausar Muhammad, and we've got Yusra Muhammad. Everybody give them a huge round of applause. They're amazing. These are talents. They're not just like the CEOs of tomorrow, they're the CEOs of right now. That's right. And so you're going to hear from them and get a full rundown on what's happening in Minneapolis. And so thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, we so deeply appreciate you being out here. All right, my friend. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Zamzam Muhammad, and I'm really excited to be facilitating this panel today. We have a group of brilliant women with us, and I'm thrilled to be able to share space and be in community with you all to discuss some of the insights, strategies, and resources that some of these panelists can tell us a little bit more about and how to thrive in your business and in your prospective industries as business owners. We have a few different topics that we'll kind of delve more deeper into, but to start off, I'll let the panelists introduce themselves a little bit and tell us a little bit about their background and kind of how they see themselves contributing to our conversation today.
My name is Kausar Muhammad. I'm an economic development practitioner in the MSP region. I've worked across city, state government doing economic development work. So really excited to be in this space amongst you all. Grew up in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood in Ward 6, so excited to be able to be in my own stomping grounds and to be able to speak with community. So I'll pass it over to Asiya.
Hey everyone, my name is Asiya Muhammad. I am founder and CEO of Premier Starter, a financial inclusion firm, and I'm on the mission to close the financial literacy and racial equity gap. Launching in 2021, we've worked with over 8,000 people nationwide, so we're not just a local business, we're nationwide. And yeah, so great to meet you guys, and I'm excited to contribute to this conversation.
We're gonna run the claps back at the end, because everybody needs a clap. Hi everybody, assalamu alaikum. My name is Yusra Mahmoud. I'm a business advisor and part of the community engagement team with Lake Street Council. I also run a podcast, as some of you know, Eat and Talk, and I'm really excited to be here today, and I think these are an amazing, brilliant group of women. I may or may not have anything to have done with picking them, but I also grew up in Minnesota my whole life. I first moved to Cedar when I was 4 years old, and I used to play in this exact building that we're in today, so till I became an adult, and still kind of do, low-key. But thank you guys so much for being here.
Hi everyone, my name is Miski, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, founder of Condela, a tech consulting firm.
As you all have heard, we have a wealth of experience and knowledge on this panel, and we're gonna pick their brains a little bit. So first question that I have for you all, and any of y'all feel free to jump in and answer. Tell us a little bit about some of the biggest challenges you faced within your practice or specific industry as a woman of color, as a Black woman, as an East African woman. Who would like to start?
You gotta take that one.
I got to take it?
It's your own.
So let's talk a little bit about challenges. You know, I would say as an entrepreneur, first-time entrepreneur as well, and running a business and being a CEO, it could be challenging because there is a lot of information that's also out there, and then for you to gravitate towards getting all the answers. But for me, I think it was pivoting, and I could just talk about just recently. We pivoted Premier Starter because it outgrew its like initial model, and I just thought it wasn't suitable in the way that it was being ran. So just hiring on teams, I'm not really good at hiring, so making sure that like there is a human resource sector and just growing the business and just the entire model. I think it's extremely challenging when extremely challenging when there is a lot of change that's happening very rapid and not knowing. So that's a challenge that I have faced just recently, and to overcome that challenge is just not being afraid of asking for help. I think that's the biggest thing, especially in our communities. Like, as a person who runs a company and all of that, and not everyone has the answers, but going to those that actually know more than me, getting mentorships, getting coaching, hiring actual consultants, strategists, and really just getting out of my comfort zone, because I'm a hyper independent person, but had to learn how to ask for the help, so that was the challenge and how I overcame it.
Just passing it to me. Yes, let's clap like a lot, guys. Or we'll cut this panel short. I mean, there's many challenges. As a Black woman, as East African woman, you know what they say, we gotta work twice as hard, 3 times stronger. So any room that we're in, it's like we go very unnoticed, and it's very unfortunate. I think Asia mentioned pretty much all of the main points. When I'm working with business owners, especially of color, the biggest challenge, number 1, is capital. Number 2 is resources. And then I know that there's a lot of opportunity to access these resources, but when they're handed to us, we don't have any direction of what to do with them. On top of that, these resources sometimes they kind of deteriorate us as business owners, because being able to utilize the system or access the funding or the application process is very, very tedious, and that's a huge challenge. And especially then if you're an immigrant, or if you're an older person or whatever the case may be, language barriers, it's not as easy. So I think I could go on and on about the challenges that we face. Whether you're an entrepreneur or someone on my side that is helping entrepreneurs, I think that these challenges can definitely be revitalized, and it's something that's been going on for a very, very long time, and it's not discussed as much as we should talk about. But it's also our job as business owners to really hold these organizations or these companies or whoever it may be, our legislators, our council members, accountable on making these resources accessible, because it shouldn't be a challenge for our business owners.
I'm going to reiterate what Asia said. The biggest challenge that I personally faced was pivoting. Sometimes you think you are in the right space, sometimes you think you have the right resources, but it's essential to know when to pivot, when to maneuver, when to make a change. That has been a challenge that I constantly kept facing in my space, especially in the tech space. As you guys are aware of, is heavily male-dominated space, and trying to start a consulting firm itself has its own challenges, because there's no blueprint. It's not like a DHS service where you have policies, procedures, set standards that you're following through. Obviously, you have to do your research, you have to know where you're going into, your domain space of areas that you want to provide services for, but still, it has its own challenges of, okay, for example, when I started, I wanted to focus on startups, applications. But then I realized that finding a single individual startups was a lot more challenging. Then I had to pivot. I was like, okay, I need to be creative. What do I do? Okay, I need to look for support programs, support products that's out there. And I come to find out, the more I ask questions, the more I seek resources, the better information I actually I came up, better strategies and a better partnership as well. So it's essential, as much resources as you have to be adaptable, resilient, and be able to be flexible with change. It's important to pivot. It's important to do self-mastery, to be okay when you hit a dead end. That does not mean it's the end. It's the start of a new beginning. Yeah.
So I can't necessarily speak from a entrepreneur or small business owner standpoint, but as someone who's had to sit across the table and be the one who is the provider for grants or loans for small businesses, I found that all the things that you've all shared is really the thematic piece, right? The biggest challenge is really understanding as a government entity or as a private sector partner, what are policies and what are practices? What are practices that have been adopted for almost decades that could be changed and really become more equitable in practice, but also being able to be very transparent with those small businesses before they come to you with their, their deck and their pitch to you, that you're not wasting their time, right? There's a lot of sweat equity that is put in by these small businesses where they're not getting the equity in return when they're coming to you with a pitch. There's also the piece around their intellectual property, which is on the line as well as they're sharing or generating any information with you. So for me, it's really informing those who are subject matter experts, who serve as business advisors, who serve as project managers in government entities, or those who might serve as supplier diversity providers in the private sector, to really be informed about the community and the cultural practices that you are seeing, to also understand the challenges that these small businesses might be facing in the marketplace, but also to understand what is the product that they are providing you, and to really educate yourself and provide yourself the tools in order to be a really good expert and guide to them, anytime that they're coming to you with a contract or with an opportunity.
Thank you for that. I wanted to piggyback off of something you just said. My question for you is, and from your perspective and your experience as an economic development practitioner, what do you think is the least utilized resource, or what do small business owners tend to leave on the table usually?
There's a lot that is left at the table, but more so I think it's around the piece of what are the unsaids, right? What are the mechanisms of understanding? So for sometimes, I've oftentimes have had to work with small business or small developers who oftentimes didn't have experience with getting a performa, right? Or they haven't had the experience of understanding, like, you're a LLC and you're seeking out a grant, and the government entity can only provide you a grant if you're a 501c3, right? It's really understanding what is that entity able to provide you, what are the clear deliverables that they're asking of that small business, and has it been translated in a way that's actually accessible to Yusra's point. Oftentimes in the industry of economic development and small business development, we utilize a lot of jargon, and it's really necessary for us to really break down that language in a way that is transferable into community, in a way that you are coming into community like we're seeing today, and really speaking with the small business owners so they can understand what are the offerings. But to your point of what is actually being left at the table, it's the opportunities that are closing in 24 hours that the small business was not informed of, right? That is what they're leaving at the table. The other element of leaving at the table is understanding what are matching dollars that could have been provided at the federal, state, county, and city level, as well as some of our 501c3, CDSCs, CDFIs. What are they offering, right? It's really understanding what is the capital mix in a situation where a government entity can only provide you maybe, let's say, $5,000 to $25,000, but they have an entire gap of $100,000, is understanding what is the capital mix and who could they reach out to outside of government entities and private sector entities. It's bringing philanthropy into the conversation. It's bringing in other entities that could really support that. But I'm sure you've experienced it and you've seen it, so maybe you want to speak to it too.
Me or you? Okay.
Especially from your lens. Yeah.
I think you answered this so perfectly, so I don't even know what to add on to it. But yeah, I guess really just to piggyback off what you said, the most detrimental part is that 24 hours like notice between that having access for the business owners. And I think that's something that's highly frustrating, sitting on the other side and helping, and even us as like, business consultants or business advisors, it's crunch time, and it's very overwhelming because we're trying to do our best to make sure that they meet these deadlines, because after those deadlines, there's other deadlines, and there's other deadlines, or maybe something else is going to be sent back. So, I mean, overall, is there room for improvement? Absolutely.
So what I'm hearing is be proactive, get on your newsletters, get subscription to newsletters from the cities, the different counties you live in, just to stay up to date on some of these opportunities that may be very, very, like there's a deadline and a time constraint to them. One thing I wanted to ask, I heard you all mention pivot quite a lot. So how do you determine when it's appropriate or necessary for you to pivot? When you have a business plan in place and things are supposed to go according to plan, but they don't, at what point do you decide to pivot, and what does that look like?
I think it takes a lot to be honest with yourself sometimes, and I think there's some of us that it's a challenge just to be like, listen, sit down with yourself and look at your actual business. And I'm coming from that entrepreneur, business owner standpoint. For me personally, it came to a point where it was just not sustainable anymore. And when I say sustainable, not the financial side, but my mental health was like declining because there was so much I had to do, and I didn't have the actual infrastructure in the back end to keep up with it. And it was really challenging. So my business outgrew itself, which for the most part, it's a great thing, right? We all should be super excited about that, alhamdulillah. But then again, there's things that we do have to put into place. So for me, it came where I sat down and I looked at my business plan after a year and I said, woo, I completed my 10-year goal in less than a year. Okay, let me go back and rewrite that plan. And I think a lot of the times we have to take a step back and actually plan. I think that's the biggest problem I see with working with entrepreneurs now that are seeking funding and closing this, not even the financial literacy, but that racial equity gap piece. A lot of the entrepreneurs I sit with, when I do look at their plans, like, oh, what plan do I have to do? And I'm like, where are you going? The GPS is, you're supposed to put your destination in. And even if that destination isn't exactly where you are looking to be, even if you didn't reach it, at least it gives you perspective, right? So I think it was looking at that plan, really evaluating everything that was happening around me, and then being honest with the things that were my weaknesses. I think we focus on the strengths so much that we forget that weakness isn't absolutely weak. It's just that we all have something that we need to work on, right? So it was really being honest with the fact that I just can't hire. Everybody that I hired was genuinely, it was really hard to keep staff. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because I'm not a human resource expert. So I did have to, like what Costa was saying about, having those subject matter experts like in the spaces, including in my business. So that's the way that I actually pivoted, and I'm still pivoting. We're in the process of a current pivot right now with changes even to our website and everything that's happening. And yeah, it's been a challenge, but a great challenge, because entrepreneurship the grass is not always green. And I think that's what we see on social media and all of those things. And people like to tell you all the goods, right? But nobody really talks about the fact that you're in it every single day, regardless of if it's good, bad, ugly, right? But it's really being, easy on yourself and telling yourself things are going to work out, and seeking for help and doing all of that without feeling shame, without feeling guilt, and without beating yourself up about the things that you just don't know. Like Yusra mentioned earlier, there's language barriers. I work with entrepreneurs and have been for quite some time, but the language barriers is one big thing, but also too, the belief that you could actually do it is another, right? So just believing that your capacity is endless and you could reach whatever measure you want to reach, but not stopping yourself in the tracks.
That's a great question. In order to pivot, you have to, in my understanding, obtain a certain level of self-mastery. You have to really be grounded in what you want. You talked about business plan. Business plan, the way I see it, is guardrail. It's not the end of it all. It's the skeleton. So And you also write your business plan in a controlled environment. You go, you do your research, you gather your numbers, you aggregate your data, you provide a report, and put everything together. Now, you're gonna have to go implement that. The real world is a lot noisier than your controlled environment. Now, let's go back to self-mastery. Is this the capacity of what you wanted to do? Does this reach your goal, your end goal, what you wanted to obtain? Because at the end of the day, the way I see things is you have to live a life of purpose. It's not just making money and doing the next thing and purchasing the next material. What are you contributing to society? What values are you adding? So now, once that level of self-mastery is obtained, pivoting is a lot easier because you're implementing your business plan with the addition of the new data set of the information you came up with. And being in technology, one of the things you have to be okay with is change, because technology changes, as you guys are aware of. Systems are not operating the way they were 10 years ago or 5 years ago. It's constantly changing, so you have to adapt. We're dealing with big data. We're dealing with generative AI that's transforming as we speak on everything that we're touching on today. So when you say you're gonna pivot, it's going back to those questions, those essential questions you initially asked in any business you're doing. Am I doing what I want to do? Am I adding the values that I wanted to add? It becomes a lot easier. So that's my short answer.
I'm so glad we have someone in tech, by the way, because I think that was so beautifully answered. So I just wanted to say that.
Kosar, I wanted to come back to you real quick. How can small business owners better advocate for themselves and their needs when they are dealing with the economic development folks and landscape and trying to navigate that? How can they make their needs be known and advocate for themselves in that capacity?
Yeah, it's a very great question. And I think the most difficult part for us is the fact that we're oftentimes in this current space, we're talking about disenfranchised businesses, right? We're talking about Black, East African, Indigenous, you name it, businesses, right? But particularly in this week, and as we're having this conversation, the East African community is a marginalized community in this ecosystem. And so to say that this community has to do any additional advocacy, I think for me is a dishonor to that community, right? I can't say as an economic developer that I feel like this community needs to do any more advocacy than it has, because this community has really drove the economic mobility and the engine of this region for nearly 3+ decades since their arrival in the United States, right? I think there needs to be a lot more robust understanding and more flexible policies and programs and really practices and how this particular community is welcomed in. But when we're really talking about Black, Brown, Indigenous, and people of color-owned businesses in Minneapolis, there really needs to be more authenticity and intentionality in how we're providing robust services and really peer-to-peer learning spaces, focus groups, working with other partners who provide really culturally specific subject matter expertise for small businesses and really utilizing them as a vessel, as an advocate, right? But these small businesses don't have the time, the capacity, nor the capital to really be lending towards further advocacy. It really is the ownership on those who are in elected spaces to really do the advocacy for these communities who've been disenfranchised and really are dealing with systematic oppressions and systems that do not work for them, right? So is there really systems change that is necessary and really a theory of change that's necessary?
Thank you so much for your answer, and you kind of covered the second part of my question, which was going to be how can people that are in these economic development roles and are elected officials and many folks in position of power advocate for these small business owners and kind of drive their mission forward as well. But you kind of covered that.
And maybe I'm wondering what y'all think these folks should be doing, right? Like, as a small business owner, as a business advisor, somebody who's actually dealing with these challenges, what more can folks in these spaces do for you all within these institutional spaces to really, A, advocate for you, but also provide the resources necessary? I guess that's how I'd reframe it.
To be honest, I think that there is a lot of resources out there that not many know of. So I think the challenges that, you know, entrepreneurs I work with face consistently and on a day-to-day is the fact that they just don't know where to actually start. There's too much information out there. There's too much, and like the cultural sensitivity aspect that you spoke about, you know, let's talk a little bit about funding. There isn't much out there unless there is the grant aspect. But when it comes to business funding, there's a lot of clients that I personally work with that when it, you know, they don't take out regular business loans and that capital because of the Islamic finance aspect of it. So it's like, you know, when it comes to community CDFIs and all of these organizations, are there things that we can do to, you know, bring in some programs, right? And for the Muslim entrepreneurs that actually want that Islamic financial aspect or getting those loans, business loans in a way to help them. But when it comes to what they need to do, the advocacy part, I think you hit it on. I don't think they could do anything else. They're tired, right, on going to and knocking on these doors and asking for all the help and then being told yes and spending all that time with someone and working with someone just to be told, oh, unfortunately, I forgot to mention, you know, we can't actually provide that for you because of this reasoning, right? And I think just having, you know, those guidelines and setting up some sort of system that, you know, systems in place to actually make it better. But personally for me, when it comes to partnerships and working with those that actually have cultural sensitivity a part of their company as well, and doing the things that we need to do to scale that, like bringing in those that actually could work with the entrepreneurs and understand them. Is there, you know, when it comes to language barriers, is there things for entrepreneurs that they're not understanding the jargon, right? There's Legal Corp here, and I'm so amazing the resources that they have. But is there anything on the legal side? You hear about a lot of different business partnerships, and lawyers are a lot of money, right? But is there like things and like programs that we can have for entrepreneurs? And there is a lot of programs, don't get me wrong, but to make it even more clear and to have that for them. So it's just the access aspect.
I guess to make it short and cutthroat, I want our elected officials to go to bat for us, not only in election season, but all year round. I want them to hold up on their end of their promises, and then I want us as a community not to ever take our foot off their necks. We have to continue to show up in every single space. Like, I think this is so beautiful, and this is an amazing turnout, but like, what's gonna happen after Black Business Week? You know, what's gonna happen after East African Resource Day? We need to continue to call for, you know, action and continue to really request and demand what we are owed and what we are promised. And so if you do have resources and you're struggling on how to access them, you have to make sure that, I mean, at the end of the day, kind of like Kosa said, we've been doing the work for a long time. We don't have to advocate for any of that stuff, but we need to hold them accountable. Like, don't be scared to use your voice at the end of the day. And so that's really all I have to say.
I'm right in the weeds when it comes to that, and there's like a bit disconnect for me. I'm not that much involved in politics, but it's important to do your own research and then identify who to reach out to for help, because I have been doing that.
It's stuck again. I'm sorry.
Our mic keeps getting stuck, sorry. Thank you all for that insight and input. That was beautifully said and well put. What is the role, I guess this would be for the business owners on our panel, what is the role of your community in upholding and uplifting each other as we take on or go down the entrepreneurial path? What is the role of your community, and how do you even cultivate a community that's well knit and cohesive and is able to, again, move your mission and passion forward?
Yeah, I would say, and I said this from the beginning, and I say this every day, it is important to build a community before building a business, especially in the space I'm in. And I care for the community, to be honest. I think without the community, my business wouldn't be my business. So my community's name is the Starter Family, because we all start somewhere. And not feeling like, you're alone in a space where it is really challenging. And, a lot of the people that I work with, and this is nationwide, they all have similar stories. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to do it alone. Everyone wants to find someone that's like-minded, just like themselves. And I think the biggest thing, especially cultivating that community, is that being super authentic and, staying true to your word and that honesty aspect. But my starter community is like a big old family, and people will come and start screaming, I'm a part of the starter family, because we're all online. So my entire company is virtual, and it's not a brick and mortar or anything. But, I would do something or be somewhere, and someone will come up to me and be like, I'm a part of the starter community, and it just makes me so happy. And we say starter family strong, and people just coming, and that just goes to show that, the more we come together, right, and the more we pour into each other, is the better we will be. And just making sure that we give each other that grace, the understanding, and all of that. And I think the community has, especially my starter community, has done that. So that's
why. My community is composite of many other communities. Going back to when I was doing my intro, I have not came across a lot of East African, I mean, there are a lot, though I'm not discounting all the talents that's out there, but with my limited scope of experience, I have not came across a lot, or maybe I didn't reach out. But I did build a community, again, with different type of ethnicities, people that offer different levels of resources, knowledge, skills, intellect, operations, that consists of a lot. So building a community doesn't mean you bring together people that only look like you. Sometimes you have to seek out. Sometimes you have to go outside, and you have to be adventurous and be brave, because depending on which space you're going to, it's essential to build a community, because at the end of the day, we're social animals. In everything we do, it's important to have humans involved.
I want to switch gears a little bit. As a business advisor, one of the first and biggest questions that I receive usually from small business owners or entrepreneurs that are very early on in their startup journeys is, how do I access funding? So what are some maybe funding streams that you have utilized yourselves as business owners, or kind of how you just went about starting out your journey as an entrepreneur, and what capital did you use?
So For me, it was a bit challenging because I didn't want to go the route of getting a regular business loan. I think for some people that might be their thing, but it wasn't for me. So I went the crowdfunding route. I went to friends and family, raised money. But at the time when I was starting my business, there wasn't really a lot of overhead because my business was online, and I utilized that because we were in the midst of COVID. And I did want to launch and have like a space, but it just didn't make sense to at the time. But a lot of crowdfunding, I got a couple of grants, and it was, that's how I funded it. And the rest of it was self-funded. So Premier Starter actually became sustainable, and it funded itself in the first year of business. And I'm, alhamdulillah, very grateful for that. But and it's not the same for a lot of people, and I think that's, I would say a privilege to not have to go and obtain funding right away, like right now. But I wish I could, I wish there was opportunities and like actual funds available that I could utilize that is a business loan, but it adheres to my faith and values and things. And I know that there's a lot of people who wish that as well. So, I think Premier Starter could have been even bigger with more money, but, I take everything as I have it, alhamdulillah, and I just keep on going with it, so. But I wanted to also mention that funding is really needed, especially for even women Black women, period, actually. And Black women do not get enough money as it is, So it's not just about being Muslim or all of that. It's even more in depth of that. And even those of color, but Black women especially, do not get enough investments, money. And another thing too, it's angel investments. I do have some, angel investors in my business too, so.
Well, I just want to say that in this very room, there are a lot of resources and organizations that can help answer questions about the funding. So especially like Hennepin County or the city of Minneapolis, or wherever you're from, definitely do your research and take the time to seek out what nonprofits or organizations are there to help with funding in your business. A lot of times, kind of as Asia mentioned, banking and traditional loans is not something feasible, not just for Muslims, but for non-Muslims as well. So there are CDFIs, there are organizations like my organization, Lake Street Council, that adhere specifically to a geographic area or the city or the county, and valid ones are here in this room today. So please, when this panel is over, please stop by the tables to really do your resources and connect with these.
So my business is self-funded. Of course, I would love to have, extra income to expand operations, but yeah.
I did also want to mention the crowdfunding platform for women that I really, truly love, and you can learn a little bit more, is I Fund Women. And if you just search it on Google, it will come up. But it really gives a lot of insight, different resources, and things like that as well. So I think that would be one tool that I can give.
I think something that I wanted to briefly share is the opportunities to be certified with the City of Minneapolis, Hennepin County, Ramsey County, and the City of St. Paul. So the CERT certification is for those who identify as a minority-owned business, woman-owned business, or a veteran-owned business, or if you're a disadvantaged business in its totality. I think there's 4 different certifications. So depending on your identity and the ownership makeup of your business, you could qualify for that certification and really allow you for greater competition and accessibility to contracting opportunities for vendors with Hennepin County, with the City of Minneapolis, with the City of St. Paul, with Ramsey County, and I believe with the Met Council. So those are opportunities for you to also seek out as a small business, especially if you provide consultation services or other services related to maybe landscaping or infrastructure improvement work as well. I think there's also a lot of opportunities to register yourself as a vendor if you have a hospitality or restaurant business, to be able to have that opportunity to have your event halls or your restaurants to be listed with the cities, with the county, as a vendor. So if there are any events happening within those geographic regions, your business has the ability to compete for those, and there could be an easier route for you to actually be equitably compensated for the use of your space or for the services that are rendered with your restaurant or your specialty business.
So, final question for our panel. Just last words of encouragement, advice to any business owner, small business owner that is on the brink of starting their business or just developing their business plan and getting something down on a paper. What is something that you would want to leave them with to kind of help them start that journey?
As someone who isn't a small business owner, I think the number one thing I would just say is, and me and Asia were having this conversation earlier, is just the need for psychological and behavioral change around the belief that you can do it, you are capable, you can do this. There are many folks in the community who have resources. There are those who've been historically here before us, like our historically Black community, connecting with those community partners, learning from them, getting lessons learned. But there's a lot of opportunities for East African businesses to really succeed. It's just a matter of putting your best foot forward. And if you're a Muslim, knowing like tawakkallah, like believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will be fine. But yeah, I know Asia has more to share there.
I would just want to start, and this is just, and I want you to hear me and hear me clear, that just because there's this quote unquote thing of failure that you're not, even if it means starting over, if it means, you're changing the course, if something didn't work out for you, and really just telling yourself and believing in yourself more than anyone or anything, and allowing yourself to actually believe that. I always say, like, I take a holistic approach when working with entrepreneurs, and taking care of your mental health, like, it's so real, and really putting yourself and not feeling like you have to get everything done tomorrow, and really just being honest with yourself about that. But it's like Miski has pointed out earlier too, it's the inner self work that has to be there, and really challenging yourself and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to accept help and to do all of those things, because our capacity is endless and you could do anything you set your mind to. And I know so many people say that, but it's the how to, right? And just allowing yourself to really feel it through, and to not give up, right? And talking to those that are here and getting those, getting help and getting the resources, and knowing that like every single person is also having that challenge as well, or a different challenge. Entrepreneurship isn't the best of the best. Everybody looks at it as like, oh my goodness, the grass is always green, and it's not that way. And it's just really allowing yourself to know like the next person is also having a challenge, and really being there for each other and supporting those small businesses, Black-owned businesses, and doing whatever you could do to do that. And I think just amplifying those voices and amplifying your own voice and standing up for that. And yeah, just believe in your worth and yourself. That's my thing.
I think that was beautifully worded. I think the only thing I would add to that is, as a business owner, have a purpose. Don't let money be the only reason that you are chasing your dreams. Be genuine. So whatever you are in your entrepreneurial journey, make sure it's something that's going to be building generational wealth for your family, for your kids. If you're an immigrant, we all came to this country for a reason, right? And so have a purpose, and just make sure that what you're doing is something you love. Because imagine waking up and being like, damn, I hate this. Like, I don't want to open the doors to my business today, or, I don't like making sambusas. Like, if it's not something that's your passion and it's not your purpose, it's okay to pivot, as we talked about. It's okay to find something that aligns with you at the end of the day. And so, find your purpose and follow that path and be passionate. And also, as like Asia and Kosar said, that you're not alone. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. Please make sure that, once again, you show up and you ask for help. And if someone says no, that's okay. ask another person for help. You're gonna hear so many no's as a business owner, but that no should be like your biggest motivation ever, because you're gonna find somebody or something that's really gonna take you to the next level, and no one's gonna stop you from there, so.
Well said. I would add, take care of yourself. Take care of your well-being, take care of your mental health. You are the engine for your business. If you're not okay, if you're not well, your business is not gonna go well. If you hit a dead-end roadblock, that's not the end. It's the start of a new beginning. Never stop, keep chasing that dream.
I wanted to add one more thing before we end it all, but also too with purpose is just knowing your why and why you do it every single day. Ask yourself every single day, why am I waking up and why am I doing what I'm doing? And your why has to be so strong, because I swear to you, that's the only thing that keeps me going every day. There's some days I wake up and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, I have to. Yep, I do, you know, because it's knowing that why. But just ask yourself, you know, today when you go home, just say, why am I waking up every single day and doing this thing? Why am I doing the thing that I said I'm gonna do? Or why am I changing my route? And just really knowing your why.
And for my final parting words, I would say leverage your community. Leverage the resources in your community. Leverage the smart minds in your community. There's always somebody that has done it before. And if you can't find that person, then you are a pioneer in that specific field or industry, and it's okay to fail. So that's my final parting words for you all, and thank you to our panelists. We have some resources for you all. So again, tap into all the resources that are being provided. Walk around, get some flyers, some brochures, read about some of the programs that are beneficial and are designed with you in mind. And yeah, let's love on each other and uplift each other and push each other forward. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming. Round of applause for our amazing panelists. Very full of talent actually, mashallah. I just want to say a few things before you guys can go and kind of network and stuff. There is some sort of a conference in room 1 if you just want to kind of know how to start your business and so forth, so you can head to that. Otherwise, I would say stop by at the small business team with the city of Minneapolis. I see also if you're interested in maybe contracting with the city, we have the staff from there. We also have the SBA, Minnesota Black Chamber of Commerce. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So we have a lot of amazing vendors and partners that you can partner with. So I'll say, you know, we have the next hour to just walk around and just ask questions. And if you have a question for me, I'm Khalid Mohammed. I'm one of the policy aides for Councilman Osman. This is our 4th year hosting this. I'm going to be here until the end. Also, if you have questions for our panelists, they will be around until probably the end, hopefully. So thank you guys so much.
Hi, who am I speaking with?
Khalid Mohammed, I'm the policy aide to Councilman Osman. And thank you guys for coming today. Today we hosted our 4th annual East African Resource Fair, where we brought a lot of vendors from the city of Minneapolis, the county, and other partners throughout the Hennepin County as well as throughout the state. It was a great event. A lot of people got the opportunity to talk to different vendors, whether that was contract opportunities with the city, grants, as well as other resources such as, like, if you want to start a business in Minneapolis, you know, the business licensing process and so forth. So I think it was a great event today, and I'm glad that you guys were here to represent the East African community, particularly the Oromo TV. You guys always come here, so thank you so much.
So what is the ultimate goal of these events, hosting this kind of events for the people of color and East African communities?
The outcome, or like the results that we want to see, is to uplift our communities, especially the East African communities. We want them to make sure that they have access to contracting opportunities, and if they face in red tapes, if they face in red tapes when they want to start a business, we want to remove those barriers and red tapes so they can start their business and have a very thriving business in Minneapolis. So that's kind of like the objective of this fair.
So, are you guys planning to support, black businesses throughout the year, or just once a week?
No, we're gonna support them throughout the year, 365. Our office is open to them. The small business team from the CPAT department within the city of Minneapolis is also here. So it's a year-round process, but this is more about kind of putting focus on the East African. We want to make sure that sometimes people don't have access to going online and doing all that work, maybe because they have other jobs, or they, raising kids, or even don't know how to navigate the system. So we want to be able to help them to navigate through the system and make the process a lot smoother for them, so they don't have to get confused and kind of it becomes staggering for them to not move forward.
So what is your message for, some of the business owners who are watching us? So they're out there,
yes,
and not all of them are here.
Right.
So do you have any message for them?
My message to them is, come, ask for help, ask for resources, ask for tools. One of the things that I want to see, particularly in our East African businesses, is to make our businesses more mainstream, right? I want the local Ethiopian restaurants, or the Oromo restaurant, or the Kenyan restaurant, or the Somali restaurant to be able to be Googled, and people can go and non-East Africans can come and visit. So we want to help you guys to mainstream those businesses, whether that is providing the tools, the opportunities, the grants, and so forth. We want to help you. There are resources out there, so don't just assume that we're not willing to help you. Come and ask for those helps. You elected us to help you. You elected us to be there for you. So I say come and ask those tough questions. Come and ask for help. Come and ask for resources. Whether that is it's a weekend, please come and ask.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, who am I speaking with?
Hi, my name is Emily Peterson with the City of Minneapolis Small Business Team.
Tell me about the events that you guys are hosting today.
So today is the East African Business Resource Fair, and it's part of Black Business Week, which is the 4th annual Black Business Week hosted by the City of Minneapolis. So we had a great panel discussion with female entrepreneurs from the East African community, and then a variety of community resources for entrepreneurs and business owners.
Do you believe this kind of events is going to help, business owners and entrepreneurs? How is that going to help them?
I think it helps get the word out that entrepreneurship and business ownership is a opportunity for everyone, and that there are people in the community and community resources available to help our community.
What kind of resources do you guys have for, someone who want to start business?
Sure. Yep. With the City of Minneapolis, I work on our Business Technical Assistance Program, so that we contract with community providers to help people write a business plan or to get funding for their business. We also offer someone to help them go through the process of getting a business license and to learn all the rules of starting a business in the city.
So you guys are hosting these events once a year. So for 1 week is a Black Business Week. So are you guys do you have any programs that to help the businesses throughout the year?
Yep, so all of the programs and the resources here are year-round, and so this is just an opportunity to get the word out to people that these are resources available for everyone year-round.
Black business owners are not only those numbers, but there are so many of them out there. Do you have any message for them to join next year or throughout the year?
Yes, so every year Black Business Week gets bigger. We get more attendees, and we push our communications out. So we suggest to come to the City of Minneapolis website and search business resources. You can contact us at the Small Business Team. It's the small business at minneapolismn.gov, and we can get you in touch with resources year-round.
Hi, who am I speaking with?
Soy Lowe Chichulka.
What do you guys are doing here today?
So we're the small business team. So we're sharing resources of what we have from the City of Minneapolis to share with business owners or entrepreneurs.
What kind of resources do you guys have for businesses?
So we have the Business Technical Assistant Program. In here you will see in the back a lot of our providers that help our clients either start a business or for those who already are in business, how can they expand? We also have accounting assistants and legal assistants.
Do you believe this kind of events have an impact on the business owners?
Yes, actually, we had a lot of business owners or new entrepreneurs asking for help on, how can they expand their business, or if there's like any business loans, things like that, or they're asking about facade programs, how we can connect them with them. So yeah.
So do you have any message for the business owners or for the entrepreneurs, especially for someone who's thinking to start businesses?
I will say for them to reach out to us, to the small business team, and that way they can take advantage of the Business Technical Assistant Program.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, who am I speaking with?
Hi, I'm Adele Murray from Minneapolis Central Library, Hennepin County Library. I am in...
Tell me about whatever you have there. This is the resources for the people, right?
Yes.
Explain to me.
Yes. So Minneapolis Central Library and Hennepin County Library have a lot of resources for everything, but today we're talking about the business resources. So we've got databases and information available through our website. We have collections available in our buildings, and we have a lot of programming that we do to support entrepreneurs and people who are looking for grants as a nonprofit, and so on. So right now on the docket we have our classes coming up for business planning, for researching grants, and for kind of all businesses in general at our upcoming Entrepreneur Expo this October, where we will have classes, one-on-one consultations, and a lot of exhibitors like we're seeing today. So just a lot of support and information through the libraries for entrepreneurs.
Do you believe your resource or whatever you have for business owners or entrepreneurs will have impact on them?
That's the goal. So we could always provide the information. That's our role as the library. And whenever anybody wants to come and use it, the more they use it, the more benefit they get from it. So I believe that our resources will be of use to anybody who comes to us to come and engage with our...
How can they help the people get hold of you?
So they can come to any library and talk to the librarians. The staff are always really excited to connect people with resources. I'm at Minneapolis Central Library, so if you come downtown, you can see me there.
Assalamu alaikum, who am I speaking with?
This is Idris Mohammed from Director of Business Development and Housing at African Economic Development Solutions.
What do you have today here?
We have actually, we are tabling with the East African Resource Fair. So we have our flyers for the business development, housing, lending, and what we do there. And also we have Little Africa Festival on August 4th. And then we have National African Leadership Conference on August 1st and 2nd. So I would actually invite everybody to attend the 10th Little Africa Festival. Families and children, and there are food vendors and music and dance and all this. So please join us. You are invited and you will like it.
So you're part of the resource fair here that is hosted by the city of Minneapolis.
Yes.
What do you think is the impact of this kind of event for people of color?
I think this is good. I didn't actually quite listen to the panel discussion, but the little I listened, it was good. They were talking about financial literacy, about business plan writing, and things like that. To me, it was good. And also the networking. I met with people from different organizations, and I have seen people that I already know, including Emily from BTAB in the city of Minneapolis, Khadra Abdi from MCCD, Jamie from Women's Venture, and Hussein from CRS. Yeah, different people, and that was really very, very, it was good networking event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, who am I speaking with?
My name's Teresa Leonard, and I'm with Castelli Business Services. And we're a consulting firm that helps individuals that want to start a business, or if you have an existing business and you're having roadblocks, or you want to expand, or looking to improve your credit, or want to get a business loan, we help with all those kind of things.
Tell me how your resources help business, the business of diverse people or people of color.
Yes, we're funded by the City of Minneapolis BTAP program, and through this, our services are free if you live in Minneapolis, and that way we can help entrepreneurs at any income level that really is needing our help. And so we help everybody in the community. And my business partner, Hussein Ahmed, is Somali. So we focus a lot on the East African community. And we have a lot of experience with what the needs and concerns are when it comes to businesses. So we help a lot with bookkeeping, helping them structure the company, and also just educating on the best practices and how to get their business to be profitable.
Have you ever heard about Oromo community?
I didn't until we had an Oromo client, and then I had to do research on the Oromo community, and I really didn't realize how big. I got confused at Oromo and Somali, like many people, thinking they were all one community. And then I realized how the Oromo community, many of them don't speak Somali, and they're very isolated. So I'm realizing that there's a very big need out there in this community. So we've been helping a lot of Oromo clients, actually.
So actually, what are you guys doing to change those, to help the communities, the Oromo community?
Well, we've been working with media, and we hopefully with your media as well, to start spreading information about how they can improve their lives with small business development. We know how individuals make mistakes, and business can be risky. And so we want to help individuals before they waste their money and choose a business that may not be profitable, or we've had individuals buy a business from someone else and then they got scammed and ended up spending a lot of money, and then they lost everything. So we're trying to educate the community to get advice before you launch into business, so we can help you on a path to success.
So on your display, I'm watching, I can see there's a candies here. I thought you own a candy shop, but tell me about, are you in the candy business?
No, but that's a very profitable business, actually. And even in Minnesota, since it's so cold, ice cream is a very profitable business. So there's certain food industries that are very good, but no, we aren't in the business of candy. But we put it out so it'll attract people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Who am I speaking with?
Wa alaikum salam. My name is Yusra Mahmoud.
What are you guys doing here today?
So I work with Lake Street Council. We are a nonprofit organization located on Lake Street. We support all the small businesses on the Lake Street corridor. So here at the table, there's two things I really want to highlight. Number one, I know you guys see the construction in Minneapolis. There's so much construction. It makes it so hard for us to go around and drive, right? But I want to really reiterate how important it is to support the small businesses during this time. Especially with the construction, it's something we can't control. So it's important, go out and support our East African businesses. Continue, whether it is getting on your bike or walking, whatever you have to do, go out and do not stop supporting the small businesses during this construction time. It's temporary. It's going to stop, inshallah. But in the meantime, continue. Go get tea, go get food, go shopping. These businesses are relying on you. So that is the first thing I wanted to really talk about. The next thing I really want to highlight is our Lake Street Mural Day. I know you see the beautiful art on Lake Street, and there's a representation of all the cultures, the Latino community, the Somali community, the Oromo community. And so we really want to highlight August 17th, you guys, from 3 to 6 p.m. It is going to be an amazing day of art, food, music, fun. Come and explore, look at the art and the cultures, our Oromo, our East African, Somali cultures. We thrive with art, right? And so we really want to represent our art during this day. So August 17, please visit our website, visitlakestreet.com for more information on how to register.
You did good advertising, but let me ask you, what do you think the impact of this kind of events that has on business owners?
This event is very resourceful because we don't always get access to these organizations. It only happens once a year right now. And that's what I really want to highlight is I don't want this to only happen once a year. I want for our community to come together, and I want us to continue showing up like this. There's different tables. There's organizations we've never heard of that are in our geographical areas that we can connect with, business advisors, city, the staff of the city. So it's very important. It's very resourceful, and also the language barrier. At events like this, since it's East African based, we will find someone that can really help explain it to you. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Egaan kabajamtoota daawwattoota OROMIA11 sagantaa keenyarraa waan hedduu baratanii jirtan jennee abdanna. Abbootiin qabeenyaa daldala keessatti bobbaatanii jirtan kanneen kutaa bulchiinsa Minneapolis keessatti argamtan carraalee barabaraan gadhiifaman carraalee daldala jalqabuudhaaf daldala keessan ol guddisuudhaaf akkasumas gara sadarkaa biizinasa biraatti tarkaanfachuudhaaf magaalaa kanneen keessatti kennamu irratti argamuudhaan qooda fudhadhaan yaamicha keenya har'aati sagantaa biraatiin angolatti deebinuuf nagaan nuuf jiraadha.